But now we are. Now people can
People
see and hear
a great
us.
discussion about Oklahoma City's interesting populations.
Yeah. Let's see here. I should probably start my soundboard. What did I call this? Oh, that's right. I called it soundboard. Here we go. I had a brain fart. Like I'm trying to find the program. Like I forgot what I called my own goddamn program. Oh, that's right. Soundboard.
What am I doing?
Pretty straightforward. Okay.
That's why you're so good at it, Johnny. You remember what it's called.
Oh man.
This should be a fun one.
Yeah.
We'll be out here in 40 minutes flat. It's going to be a quickie.
Well.
Yeah, 5 Game Boy games, huh? All right. Well, see you
later. I can definitely say I 100% did not pick a Game Boy game.
Yeah, same. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. A Game Boy Pocket game.
My computer's acting
Shut up.
Game Boy Advance?
It's a Game Boy Micro game.
Game Boy Micro Penis?
Which is just the Game Boy Advance, but...
Well, no, Game Boy Micro is actually a Game Boy.
Really?
No, Game Boy Micro is the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Who the fuck would ever own one?
It's weird that they called it Game Boy... Yeah, it's weird they didn't call it Game Boy Advance Micro, like have Advance somewhere in the name.
Right.
But yeah,
That's where my confusion is.
Not only was it a Game Boy...
shrinking the handheld, a small Game Boy.
Not only was it a Game Boy Advance, it did not have the backwards compatibility with Game Boy and Game Boy Color like the Game Boy Advance did. So it was a feature-reduced Game Boy Advanced that did not have the Advance in the name.
So it was a demake of a Game Boy Advance?
Oh, shit. Yes, it was.
Johnny, save it for the show. Jeez. I honestly did not know that. I thought that the Game Boy Micro was a Game Boy, not a Game Boy Advance. That's fucking dumb. I will continue my, whatever, 18-year stance of just not purchasing one. Huh.
All right. Who is ready to start the show?
I'm out of here.
I am not. Give me like 1 second.
All right. As per usual, we go live. John gets up. Yeah, I don't know why, but I went down a rabbit hole looking up the best way to play Game Boy Advance games nowadays, and the general answer is to get the Game Boy player for your GameCube, and then there's an alternate software you can run on it that'll like force it into 240p mode and all that, and it sounds expensive.
Yeah,
I'll just wait for it to come out on the Switch, call it a day. I'm not gonna buy a bunch of shit.
Just go and like buy a Game Boy Advance. You can find them for like $30.
All right, John, are you ready to start the show?
Yeah, I am.
David, are you ready to start the show?
Yes, I am.
Jesse, are you ready to start the show? Jesse, if you just said something, I didn't hear it.
He had himself muted, Johnny. Look for the icons, buddy.
Okay. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Game That Tune.
You're gonna have to give me a second. My recording program is just spinning at 0. I'm not sure if it's actually recording anything, so you got to give me a second to boot it up again before we actually start the show. What timing?
Man, I'm realizing now. I wish I had a D-made version of our theme.
I was thinking about that. Like, I was gonna try and find like a voice filter or something, like bit crush our voices down to being unlistenable. But maybe I'll just edit the show poorly for old time's sake. Be right back.
Yeah, I remember there was a time I went on Fiverr and asked somebody for a ska version. It came out really, really bad. I should see if I can go find that.
But
Oh,
you
yeah.
repeat yourself.
All right, and now the numbers are counting up on the recorder.
Oh,
That's a good sign. Numbers good. Oh yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's Game That Tune back in the house once again. It's your boy John Harrington here. We got John Regan with us. Say hey.
Hey.
We got Jesse Moore. Say hey.
hey.
And we've got the king of the show, David Fleming. Say hey.
Hey!
Hell yeah, guys. Welcome back. Game That Tune in the house for episode 326. And my God, guys, we've got a fantastic show coming for you tonight. Maybe a slightly worse show than our last show, but still a very good show coming up. What we're going to do is listen to some video game tunes. We've each got 3 songs from a game. We're going to try and guess each other's games based on the songs and a little bit of trivia. We're going to goof off and have a lot of fun. And the winner at the end of the night picks the theme for the next episode and plays some bonus tunes. And our winner last week was John Regan, the Fantastic. And Johnny, you get to explain this theme for this week's episode.
Yeah, so I want to do Demakes, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a demake of a specific game. I'm also including things like if you want to say do the Mega Man Game Boy games, I would consider those mostly a demake of the NES games, right? Even though they're really kind of their own game, but you know. And then people got concerned about if we could do that, so then I also threw in games with a cactus.
Oh, yes.
So if there's any game with a cactus anywhere in the game, that also counts for tonight's theme. So tonight's theme is Demakes and cacti.
Fantastic. I honestly kind of forgot about the cactus part of the theme. I got really hung up on the first. Well, I got hung up on the first part because it was concerning to me that Johnny would want to make a theme centered around, falsifying like videos and audio recordings and things like that. Like putting other people's faces on pornography.
No, that's deep fake.
And that's the theme for the night.
Demakes.
I'm not hearing a difference.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
John, I'm worried about what parts of the internet you've been on.
And what game you found?
What did you deep
normal parts of the internet?
Which
perfectly normal pornography sections of the internet.
Which of us did you deep fake, and what porno did you deep fake us into?
See, that's the thing, guys. This technology, it's not as like cheap as they would make it, out to be. Like I could do like a little something on my phone, but like I can't just, we can't deep fake a whole show, man. We can't deep fake a podcast. Like
I think they should. You should deep fake us as the Star Fox characters. If you can deep fake us into Star Fox 64, that's how it should go.
I was going to say, it's like, what porno did you deep fake us into? It's like, well, Patreon subscribers will greatly enjoy Johnny Does Dallas coming shortly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can still do that.
Yeah. But no, so it's Demakes. So games that are versions of other games but made worse, if I'm understanding it correctly. So like I'm thinking a lot of handheld games tonight, games released simultaneously on, say, NES, SNES, and Game Boy. Probably picking some Game Boy games. I could see how there could be an NES game. I mean, I think one of the original, Demakes we featured, I think, pretty early on in this show. I would have to look up the exact episode, but I think the first time we featured Turtle Tournament Fighters, I was gearing up to hear the SNES tunes, and then it was the NES version. I'm like, who the fuck did this? What is this? How is there an NES version of Tournament Fighters? There's no fighting games on the NES. What are you doing?
Urban Champions.
Yeah, the beloved.
I hate that game with a burning passion.
Yeah, Double Dragon Mode B. We could have included that. But yeah, so there's I think there's some good tunes coming up on tonight's show. Some possibly familiar tunes. If you recognize the tunes in 16-bit form, get ready to hear them a little bit worse. I think that's kind of the vibe for the show. I hope that's the vibe for the show, because I mean, what else? Man,
cactus.
What else could a demake theme be? Yeah, exactly. Or it's I'm talking all this stuff about deep fakes and demakes, and everybody pick cacti. If you hear some Wild West tunes, you know that I've gone all the way wrong. So. Johnny, let's all refresh our browsers, get those weird faces off of ourselves. We're not going to be needing those tonight. Yeah, sorry, hot Jesse. Just go back to regular Jesse tonight.
It's the same picture.
Yeah, we don't
Jesse is hot, Jesse.
We don't need Jussie. We need Jesse.
Jesse.
And then meanwhile, Johnny, start game 1.
Game 1.
It's ending.
How many more loops? Fuck.
right, so 3 members of this company, 3 employees of this company, were arrested for insider trading based on things they did when developing this game. Hi, gentlemen. Who has their guesses/answers written?
I do.
I feel.
Oh, yeah.
I feel good.
All right, so Johnny says Professor Cactus teaches the water cycle. Took me a little bit because of John's handwriting. Sadly incorrect. John and Jesse both have the correct answer of Dragon Quest Tact. Jesse's answer slightly more correct because he drew an ejaculating slime.
Now, hold on. Yeah, we don't need to get too far into this, but how does a slime ejaculate if a slime is, from what I can tell,
Magic.
merely living ejaculant?
Did you not see the drawing? He clearly had a penis.
I mean, there were several types of slimes in the Dragon Quest universe. There are like metal slimes and
Eel
ejaculating
slimes
slimes.
and ejaculating slimes.
They're all just living ejaculant with very happy faces on them. Like, does
Yeah.
ejaculate?
I mean, you've got slimes, you've got she slimes. How do you think they make baby slimes?
Well, I did not know there were she slimes.
They're orange.
When one
Yeah.
slime loves another slime, they cover
I
the
know what
other
happened.
slime and more
In the
slime.
article.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John, it's like the ejaculate also ejaculates. It ejaculates. It's ejaculate just all the way down, man. Like it's just
Mhm.
a never-ending
That's what-
cycle.
It's like one of those Triple G films. Now I'm starting to understand why Rhythm and Pixels didn't do a bit based on us.
Immediately, it becomes apparent why we were not paid homage to Rhythm and Pixels.
So yeah,
Good luck trying to replicate this energy, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Where are your cum jokes?
So this is Dragon Quest Tact, which is a strategy RPG based on the Dragon Quest series for mobile.
Wow.
I've almost downloaded this.
That's
several
that's
times,
not
but
the
I never
reaction
have.
that I was expecting from John. Like I was really hoping to get a what?
No, makes sense. fucking it's a Square Enix thing. Square Enix likes money. Mobile games make money. Dragon Quest, very popular.
Math
Easy
checks
way to
out.
make money. It makes sense.
This is a tactical role-playing game, a strategy game where you basically collect. It's sort of like an offshoot of the Dragon Quest Monsters series, where you collect a bunch of Dragon Quest monsters and build a team, and then fight other monsters on a grid-based thing. None of this sounds particularly Demakey, and the reason is because if you present me with two themes and one of them is stupid, I'm going to opt for the stupid one. Because it's a mobile game, they had a lot of different special events type things. And one of them was a crossover event where you could actually capture and use certain Final Fantasy monsters. So Cactar is in this game.
That's
Okay.
cool.
And when I was thinking about this theme, I was like, okay, obviously I'm going Cactus. And I thought of Cactuar, and I was like, oh yeah, they were in like some Mario like sports games. We've used all of them on the show. I was
Hell
like,
yeah,
well,
we have.
like what other non-Final Fantasy games has Cactuar appeared on? And I got to Dragon Quest Tact, and I was like, hold the fuck up. This is the only Dragon Quest game to feature like Final Fantasy crossovers? That seems ridiculous. Like, how has there not been a full-on joint game? Or at the very least, like a Dragon Quest where there's an island of Moogles, or like some area in a Final Fantasy game where there are like Akira Toriyama monsters. Like, I feel like Square is sitting on a gold mine and they're just like, nah.
I think they're sitting on two gold mines and they want to keep them separate. It's two great flavors that don't necessarily go well with each other.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, you can't really cross over Final Fantasy with other random things like Tekken or Disney. Oh, wait. Those worked out really well.
Yeah,
debatably. People said the same thing for years about fucking pickles and mustard, that you really shouldn't combine the two.
And then Johnny be a Cuban person and he had his mind blown. Fuck, man. So wait, which is Dragon Quest, the pickles or the mustard?
I feel like Dragon Quest is definitely the mustard, because mustard is kind of the safe flavor option, whereas pickles can kind of be like vinegary, like have a little bit of tang to them, and like Final Fantasy experiments.
Yeah. But,
Dragon Quest, the mustard of video games.
Pickles and mustard have been going together for quite some time. Were you about to get finally down to like crystal or fucking Cuban sandwich? Which were you going for?
I was going for Trader Joe's sells a dill pickle flavored mustard, like ready to roll.
Oh no. That sounds made for somebody, not me. David, did the Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy characters not meet on Fortune Street? I know that's not an official Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy game, but like, didn't they hang out there?
I mean, technically yes, along with Mario, but that's like weird Japanese Monopoly. Like, I wasn't
the less about Fortune Street, the better.
I was just kind of thinking, I was like, an RPG series that features elements of Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. Like, that seems like a really good idea. It would be like a platforming game with Mario and Sonic, except both of these are owned by the same company, so they could actually conceivably do it.
Yeah, you could easily do it.
Like, could you imagine like one of those pixel remasters, but it has like sprites from Dragon Quest 4 and Final Fantasy 6 and whatnot? Like, I would play this game.
Yeah, maybe. If they can find a way to make it compelling. You know where it sounds like it'd be a good place for them to cross over would be in some sort of mobile game. Like, if they, if there wasn't a whole lot at stake and you could be, constantly updating the game with new stuff. And, if it was just kind of a money printing machine where eventually you're going to ask people to pay a couple of bucks to download a Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy character. That would be pretty good. What was the one game? There was a mobile game that fucking Square got involved in. Did that not also have Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy characters? I know it had a bunch of fucking like swordsmen.
No, you're thinking of the Fire Emblem game. It's totally different.
Well, no, but because there was Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, but then there was also like a mobile game that was made by that company that had. We discussed it at some point during like a fucking some episode where we discussed Brave Exvius. But yeah, there was a game where it was like, yeah, it's just a shitload of RPG characters in it. And I'm like, was that not Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy as well? But it's not a flagship game for either of those things. And that's the kind of thing where they should be meeting up. Like, yes, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy should be in the same RPG. It should be in an RPG that no one's going to care if it sucks. Say a mobile game. But for it to just be Dragon Quest with a Cactuar, then that's, there's no risk there. Like, that's all you got.
I tried to look for like a full list of like crossovers, and unfortunately I couldn't find it. I definitely know Cactuar is in there. I think Bahamut is in there as well. But there's no like Moogle that I could find, which I guess is because you don't fight Moogles technically.
Technically.
Right.
Jesse, back me up here.
I'm trying to think if there's any.
I know you can play as a Moogle, but I don't think you fight them.
No, I can't think of any. Well, in like 14, there's like the Mog King you can fight, I think, and he's like a boss, and then you can summon him. So
banned from the radio.
It just seems weird to me that like you have got these two classic RPG series, and the only time that they have met is in a strategy RPG mobile game and a Mario sports game. Like,
yeah.
And that feels really fucking weird to me.
And one of their meetings got the creator of Sonic sent to prison. Like, crazy.
Yeah, apparently Yuji Naka and two other executives at Square Enix, like, while they were developing this game, were saying like, oh, we need help developing this. We should hire like this company. And then like the next day bought a shit ton of stock shares of that company. It's like, you can't do that.
I don't know, man. I figure as long as you can cover it up, and not be
really, they were just betting on themselves. What's wrong with that?
Well, that's the thing. That's they are their knowledge of what the company was going to do came from inside their company, and they traded on that knowledge, and then they got sent to prison on a charge. I can't think of the exact name of the charge, but
I believe the exact name is knowing about deals and using that to your advantage.
Yes,
I think there should really be a more like pithy way to say that.
Oh, they call it Martha Stewart.
Deals with your own like company or receiving information from someone else regarding their company. You're being tipped off that something is going to happen and using that to gain financially.
I think, Johnny, you bring up a good question. Did Yuji Naka do a Martha Stewart, or did Martha Stewart do a Yuji Naka?
Well, Yuji Naka is one of the more recent person going to prison, so Yuji Naka did a Martha Stewart. Absolutely.
Hang on, let me check the timeline. Yeah, that checks out.
Martha Stewart's an OG, man. She's fucking God. What a fucking queen she is. She's a bad bitch.
Right, yeah. I like that she and Snoop are like best friends. Who is Yuji Naka gonna meet and form an unlikely friendship with?
Now that's
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, now I was gonna say, what country is he in prison in? Or does it even wait? Martha Stewart didn't meet Snoop Dogg in prison.
No.
Yeah, what do you say?
Well, that's one of my favorite.
Why are they the same?
One of my favorite facts is somebody put up a picture of like Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg cooking, and it just said only one of these people has been to jail.
Right? Yeah. Fucking Snoop Dogg, man. Murder was the case, but not guilty, baby. That's where it's at. Anyway, fuck Martha Stewart. So also fuck Dragon Quest. Tagged.
Martha Stewart, the OG, the queen. Fuck Martha Stewart.
Yeah. She's a criminal. She's a crook, David.
So yeah, this is a game that I have considered downloading until I got to the part of the synopsis of strategy RPG, at which point I immediately clicked away.
I'm glad to know this is the cactus theme, because really I was confused by the tune sounding really great. I thought we were going to tip off with some Demake tunes, and I'm like, this sounds just like perfectly fine Dragon Quest music, David. I don't know what you've done here.
And it was funny because like halfway through the second song, I thought to myself, they made versions of Dragon Quest 1 and 2 for the Game Boy Color. I probably could have done that, but no, I wanted to talk about cacti.
Mm-hmm. Good call, man. Is there anything else that needs to be said about Dragon Quest Tact? A game that, again, I don't know, for some reason I have a hard time with that name. I don't like it. Why not just call it Tactics or Tactical RPG? Like, go full square Octopath Traveler, triangle strategy, naming strategy, and just call it fucking Dragon Quest Mobile Tactic Game or something. Like, name not final, and then have the name be final.
Oh my god, wait.
Why Dragon Quest Tact?
Do they call it Octopath Traveler? Because can you move in 8 directions in Octopath Traveler?
Well, no, you have 8 characters.
You control 8 people.
Oh, okay. Oh, so, okay, still. Okay, on the nose. I get it. Okay.
8 different story paths, yes. And then, triangle strategy, you play as 3 characters. Trying to think of one of the other ones that Square's done that to recently. They did Various Day Life, which was just the worst working title ever, and they just stuck with it. They keep doing that.
Kind of on the nose, like on the subject, I'm kind of pissed because it's been like, I feel like a year and a half, maybe even 2 years since like Dragon Quest 3 2D HD was announced, and we haven't heard shit about that game.
Yeah,
I really want that game.
I would like some more 2D HDs. Now that would actually be also a very good question for this theme. Not that any of us chose a game like that, but would a 2D HD remake be a demake?
Well, no, it's a remake.
But if they made a polygonal game into the 2D HD, would that be a demake? If they did Dragon Quest 8 2D HD.
But, well, okay, hold on. Here's the question, though. Did they do that?
No.
Should they?
Well, then it's moot.
I want to, spin off in wild directions on this very first game.
Anyhow, I think to sum up Dragon Quest Tact, it looks cool. Dragon Quest monsters are cool. I agree the name is shit.
Yes, quite bad. Now, final question, David. Who is the composer of the Dragon Quest series?
I would prefer to not mention them because fuck that guy.
Well, no, I had a follow-up prepared.
Oh, okay. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I don't have it in front of me because they didn't compose the music for this game in particular.
Well, the important thing to know is that they're still dead.
They are.
Game 2.
Three loops?
No. It's spinning on this third.
So for this game, well, the PC-88 is able to produce 8 colors. This particular game only uses half of the PC-88's hardware palette, restricted to only black, red, yellow, and blue.
I'm not too looping that one. That's forever.
Keep going.
No, let it play. I really need the time to like figure out what the game is.
All right, let's see some guesses.
I went with the Japanese name.
So John says cacti panic. That's debatable. And Johnny and David have the correct answer with Super Mario Brothers Special.
Shit, I'm sorry, my beer started to overfoam.
So yeah, this is Super Mario Brothers Special for the PC-88. So there's a bunch of weird stuff about this game. One,
don't you get the hammer from Donkey Kong as like a power up?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Please,
No,
go ahead,
that's
Jesse.
definitely a thing you can
Let me
do.
immediately tell you the most special thing about it, Jesse. Excuse me.
No, that's not the most special thing. No. We'll get to that. There's like, so the cool thing is like this is the one Hudson Soft developed. So that's already weird. In fact, you can pick up the little Hudson Soft B logo in World 1-1. It has the like fly thing and the crab thing from the original Mario Brothers arcade game. So that's fascinating. But the really
I think the crabs are sidestepper. I don't remember what the flies are called.
But so the PC-88 wasn't a very powerful computer, and so like the NES is like worlds more powerful than this thing. So this game did not scroll. So what it would do is like each screen was a screen. So you'd get to the edge of the screen, and then the game would turn black, and then you'd be in the next screen. And I don't know if you've played a Mario game before, but there's a lot of like jumping onto platforms. And so sometimes you can't see if there's going to be platforms on the other side or where they're going to be.
Oh my god! So you have to change screens mid jump.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And like the momentum of Mario in this game is like really like weird. So sometimes you'll just keep running, and it's like whenever I was reading the Super Mario wiki about it, they were doing their damnedest to make it sound like a not fun game. Like they're like, oh, this game is more challenging because of this. Like, no, it's not challenging. It's dog shit, is what it is.
It's all fucked up, man. You can say that in the wiki, guys.
And like the music is all like kind of slow, like just slow enough to where you notice there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
Like Waluigi's about to knife me. This is what's gonna happen. This is what it sounds like.
I like, that you brought up Super Mario Wiki because I do a good amount of research for the show on Super Mario Wiki, and usually it's pretty straightforward with the information they give you. They've got a lot of good stuff, good trivia, good gallery of images for like making episode art, things like that. The Super Mario Brothers special section on Mario Wiki has I think the only time I've seen a dedicated section just to glitches.
Yeah.
And yes, if I may, the glitches listed, there are 8, and there are subcategories. 1, the Blink Fest. 2, the Infinite One-Up Trick. 3, harmless fire bars. 4, lagging fire bars. 5, glitched pipes. 6, the out-of-service jumping board. 7, disc error. And 8, music stop error. Like, okay, cool. So you guys really, when you say Super Mario Bros. Special, it's a pejorative use of the word special. It's like in air quotes there.
All I know about this game, other than like it was a weird port on the PC 88 or whatever. Excuse me. Goodness, I'm sorry, John, for having to edit this. Except you're not here listening, so screw it. I know that. Oh God. Now I'm blanking on it. There's a Flash game version of Super Mario Brothers that adds like new characters and shit like that. They added in they added in cosmetics, so it's Super Mario Brothers, but it looks like Mario 2 or Mario 3 or Mario World or whatnot. They added a Super Mario Brothers special filter. So you can like play the original game like in that style. And I remember watching it like, okay, that's cool, but also, why the hell would you do that?
Yeah.
I think the game you're thinking of is called Super Mario Brothers Crossover, right? Is
Yes.
it where you can also play as like Link and
you can play as like
guys from
Link and
Contra.
Samus and the guys from Contra, Simon Belmont and that kind of shit.
Yeah,
it's an awesome game.
That was amazing. But Super Mario Brothers Special, I remember hearing about this a few years ago, just being like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this got the official Nintendo seal of approval. I thought that meant something. Like I guess they just put that on every game, didn't they?
I don't know. Well, it was Hudson Soft.
Yeah, but Nintendo had
it doesn't have the seal. Like on the box art, it doesn't have the seal.
No, it's weird. I remember there was a time when Nintendo wasn't that concerned about being console exclusive, right? Like, there's ports of the original Mario Bros. Arcade game to like Atari 2600.
I was gonna say, I think Donkey Kong was on ColecoVision.
Yeah, and that's such a strange concept now to us, right? Because like when I was growing up, Nintendo games were on Nintendo consoles. That's it.
What do you mean? You don't play Super Smash Brothers Ultimate on Xbox One?
No,
not yet.
Not yet, but maybe someday. And so like it's what a weird era, I guess, where Nintendo still wasn't fully console exclusive yet and was okay with having their games appear on other platforms, like, which is something I would like to see nowadays, right? That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But if I could just officially play like a new Mario game on some other console. But they'll probably never go back to those days because of shit like this, of Super Mario Brothers Special.
Gosh, there's some pretty good videos of people playing this game that are entertaining. That the one thing you mentioned with the what is it? Out of service jumping board. Oh, that looks awful. Like the dude I was watching playing it, it doesn't like line up right. The like when you land on it, it doesn't spring up, and like you just gotta hope it works. And
It's a leap of faith, baby. It always has been.
I mean, I'm still like, okay, there is a certain appreciation for the 8-bit aesthetic and whatnot, and Super Mario Brothers visually does hold up considering the time period and whatnot. But I'm just still imagining Super Mario Brothers with 4 colors. Like, God, that's just ugly.
yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, and the machine could do 8. Why did they only use 4?
I know
Like,
that's the other thing. They could have done 8.
It's not Price is Right rules. You don't have to, go low. Yeah.
I was imagining a game show where you bet on how many colors you can make a game with. Like,
Right. I can do it with 4.
Bob, I
You
can
can
do
have
it with Bob. I can do it with 1 color. Oh,
I don't need it. I can do it with no colors.
The only thing I can think of is maybe more colors meant longer loading between the screens. Because it takes way longer than you think it should already.
Can you imagine if it had to like draw out the screen and it was rendering like 8 colors? And oh man, those load times would be ridiculous.
I'm trying to imagine playing a Mario game like the Mega Man boss doors. And
yeah,
like,
that's what it's like.
that
It's
just
slower.
doesn't compute.
No. How could it?
Especially platforming.
Yeah, you would think, and again, like momentum-based platforming, and knowing what you're jumping towards. Like, how far am I jumping? I don't know, as far as possible every time.
That was one of those things that we brought up when I replayed Super Mario Brothers. Like, part of the appeal of that game is the control and how nice it feels to play as Mario and whatnot. And if you take that away, like, fuck.
Right. Well, it's not that they took it away; it's that they interrupted it every 5 steps. So, maybe it played the same, but it just had to, shift over to the next screen every so often. And it's a lousy way to play a game. They should not have done this.
I would like to see more games converted to this PC-88 4-color screen flipping mode. Like, could you imagine playing Sonic the Hedgehog in this style?
Ah.
All right, Johnny, run us down. What are the 4 colors it takes to make Sonic the Hedgehog? Blue, green,
yellow,
red,
yellow. Do you even need a 4th color? Can you do it in 3?
No, you need the red for the shoes. Yeah.
Oh shit! I was going to say blue Sonic, green Hill, yellow ring,
red shoe.
Well, you need a 3rd color.
No, you need the red shoes.
Okay, fine, red shoes.
Yeah.
And I guess red.
Then he can write in his diary.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, like the 7 Chaos Emeralds if they were only 4 colors.
Well,
I'm just imagining trying to play a game with that kind of momentum
going so fast and
that has that like gap when you try to jump between screens.
Right. Just stops in like mid loop,
The middle of the loop to loop.
You really should put the whole loop on one screen. What were we thinking? Gross.
Well, I'm going to be the one to bring it up. Jesse.
Oh yeah, this was never released in the United States because the PC-88 was a Japanese computer.
Good reason.
Yeah, I figure we've all heard of Mario. So
I'm sorry.
Game over!
We'll see if you can redeem yourself by episode's end.
You know what? I'm gonna make an official royal proclamation. The fact that 2 of us got this right means I don't think it's that obscure. You know what? Game over reversed, as per the king of the show.
Ew, no.
No, David, I'm going to game over you for saying that.
Yeah, game over, David. Right now.
Okay, hold up. The last time that like anybody else was king, they started doing crazy shit, and I said, "How come like I wasn't allowed to do that?" It was like, "Oh well, when you're the king, you can do that. I'm the king, so fuck it. I say it." Jesse is not game overed. Johnny, play the not anti-game over sound.
This is America, Jack. We ain't got no
bitch.
kings. Yeah.
Game
Yeah.
3.
Tell you what I see when I look at you, man.
Oh, God damn it.
God, I was really hoping so.
Alright, guys, so let's see here. Where did I put my trivia? So this is one of our fan requests, our fan requests of the evening. So this multiplayer survival co-op game has a total of 90 different endings. 12 of them are group specific, and then the rest are individual to the player. guys, I've got a slight correction to make. In the trivia, I described this game as a co-op survival game, and it's more accurate to call this a co-op narrative adventure with survival mechanics. I don't know if that changes your answers at all, but I wanted to clarify that just a little bit.
Okay, so if my answer isn't correct, I'm giving myself a point.
All right, let's see some answers. So let's see. So John says Star Fox 63 and a third, incorrect. Jesse says Left 4 Dead DS, incorrect. David says I wasn't paying attention. Pulp Fiction the game, also incorrect. This is Monster Prom 3 Road Trip. This came from Tay in our Discord. Monster Prom 3 Road Trip. It is a, as far as I can tell, like a point-and-click kind of adventure game where you and your monster friends are road tripping across the country. You have stats. Basically, you have points in areas like hype, money, soul, happiness, things. I forget the other couple. And your goal is to get to a destination by maxing out one of those stats. So if you manage to max out hype, I think you wind up like at a Vegas concert kind of thing, right? And basically the crux of the game is you're going from destination to destination and trying to earn those stat points. I'm sorry, Tay is correcting me in the chat. Hype takes you to Knife Land is your final destination.
Okay, well, that's a pretty great destination.
Is that where Jay White hangs out?
I think so. And so, so yeah, you can play up to 4 players in a co-op mode. I think this is the first one that is like a true co-op mode. I think the other games is a little more, well, not co-op, a little more competitive. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. I liked the soundtrack for this because it actually has like 4 or 5 different soundtracks built into the game, and it's presented as when you start your road trip, you get to choose.
You were going to say it has like 4 or 5 different songs.
Oh no! You get to choose your vibe. Like, do you want a lo-fi soundtrack? Do you want the surf rock soundtrack? Do you want the I forget the others. Like, I think there's probably hip hop.
Not interested.
Ska.
No ska soundtrack.
Game.
But what is
over.
ska if not angry surf rock?
Yeah, that's all it really is. So yeah, it's a pretty neat looking game. It's it's a visual novel, which is I'm not too familiar with those games, but a style game. But oh, and I forgot to mention that as far as category goes, this is a cactus game. You're driving through the desert and there's cactus. So there are.
So there's not like a monster that's a cactus person. You just pass cacti as you're driving.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no cactus monsters.
Okay. Cool.
And the monsters are pretty cool. You can customize everything as you play the game. You can change your monsters.
Can you customize the cactus?
No, but you can customize your monster's name, your monster's gender. I think everybody's considered. So there's like a dating part of this game as well. And I think
can you date the cactus?
I don't think you
Hold up. A game called Monster Prom features a dating aspect?
Yes.
Surely you jest.
You can pick up a hitchhiker at some point in the game and then choose to date them, which has
Like,
never
tell me
worked.
that's literally it. Like, you're going towards the prom and like that's it. You're dating that person. You're locked in. But if you pick up a hitchhiker, well, maybe.
I mean, that you really do pick up a hitchhiker and date him. Which is every time I've tried to do that, it's never worked out. As you guys know, I only have one kidney now.
That doesn't sound like a very safe thing to do. Like, I'm going to pick up this hitchhiker and take him out to dinner. Oh, look, they stabbed me and stole all my money.
So, Taze in the chat explained that the hitchhikers are well-known characters from the series, not just total randos. So, okay. That makes a little more sense. I guess you're finding your friend and picking them up.
I mean, also, like, I appreciate the clarification, but, like, if you're playing a game series and hitchhikers are just well-known characters, like, I don't know, this whole series seems kind of sus.
Well, it's probably like cameos from like characters from like the earlier games is what I'm thinking, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like, are the hitchhikers the monsters? Because, like, if you're driving down a western road passing by cacti, so it fits in the theme, and you see, like, a vampire or a Frankenstein creature, like, that's one thing. But if you're the Frankenstein driving past just, like, random people, like, no, I'm not going to pick any of these people up. Do you know what happens when random people see a Frankenstein monster? Spoiler, it doesn't turn out well.
And yeah, so I watched the game is pretty funny. I was watching some footage of it, and the one of the first destinations is like a kids attraction where God, what was it now? Now I'm drawing a blank. But basically, you can opt to go on a tour of like a kids attraction, and you get into sort of a contest with a kid that's also on the tour, and you can choose to plant drugs on them to try to like get them disqualified. And of course, you get caught, and you get kicked out of the attraction.
You're driving like down a strange western road, and you come across a kids attraction. Do you go to the Carnival of Souls? That is a deep cut reference that nobody's gonna get, but if you do get it, you're my favorite person.
Yeah, I don't think there's a I just know about Knife Land, man. I don't know about a carnival. And maybe there's a Carnival Souls ride at Knife Land.
Isn't that where Kiss is from?
I mean, Johnny, you should know that soul can't be cut, so it's probably not Knife Land. But
so, have any of you guys played any of the Monster Prom games?
I've heard about them, but I've just never played them.
Same.
Yeah,
I've not heard about them and not played them.
I want to say we have one or two of these soundtracks on the radio, but yeah.
That's because Taylor is a fantastic Patreon absurd fan.
Yes.
And, just a fantastic supporter of Game That Tune. And we appreciate him constantly. But no, I've never played Monster Prom of any sort.
The soundtrack.
I didn't even like my own prom. Why would I want to play Monster Prom?
Oh man, God.
Yeah, I didn't.
You want me to fucking, are we gonna dredge up prom memories right now, guys?
Let's do it. I don't have anything else to say about this game. Let's just talk about.
I mean,
prom.
if we're doing prom memories, I'm gonna have to skip beer and go to whiskey.
All my fucking prom memories involve trying to fuck Johnny's sister specifically, and just it never working out.
Wait. You what?
I attempted it a number of times.
I went to 4 proms and never took an official date. It was always a
4
friend.
proms
in the same night in a row.
Yeah, what is this? Some kind of crazy early 2000s comedy, David? Are you Luke Wilson?
Try not to go through any proms on your way through the parking lot.
Yeah.
In my sophomore year, I had a friend who went to a private school that did a prom that allowed sophomores, so I took her. Junior, senior year in high school, I graduated, and then I had a friend who was an underclassman in her senior year who asked me to prom. I went to 4 proms and never took an official date. It was always like friends.
I have a very short and sweet,
your fault.
very short and sweet prom story. My senior prom date came out the next day, so take
Sweet.
from that.
The next day.
Take from that what you will.
I was like, wait a minute, the next day.
If it's who I think it was, I thought she was an upperclassman.
Was it my senior prom? Oh, this must have been my junior prom. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is my junior prom. Whatever.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
I had a date that the turnaround was pretty quick there. Like,
yep. I can relate, buddy. I got called back. You want to know the ultimate humiliation? Move away from your hometown to go to college, or to not go to college. Get called back to go to prom after you've graduated by some girl, and then have her also turn out to be gay and be not interested in doing anything with you during that prom date. It was 19-year-old me's crowning achievement going to prom after graduating. I'm like, oh, this better pay off. It didn't.
I'm gonna take that story of I'm going to prom, I hope it pays off, but it doesn't, and multiply it by 4.
I had 3. I was close. And again, and one of them I was too old to be there. So, man, no, I haven't played Monster Prom. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were talking about a video game.
I mean, monsters, they're just like us. What is a 19-year-old attending a prom if not a monster?
So yeah, I don't have much else to say about this game, guys. I'll be honest. I'm ready to move it on. I should thank the requester, shouldn't I?
You did, or you should. You've mentioned them, and I've thanked them.
All right.
But yeah, you should thank them.
Tay, thank you for the request. Thank you for providing me with a bit of backstory about the game.
Thanks for bringing shit up, Tay.
Thanks for
Really
making
nice.
us relive our proms.
I got a tuxedo to look exactly like Big Boys from the Way You Move video, and it did nothing to make John Regan's sister have sex with me.
Oh.
Shocker.
Nothing.
We should do a GTT prom.
We should. I'll wear my big boy tuxedo.
We absolutely should. I think I still have a tuxedo. I doubt I fit it anymore. But
Oh, David, don't fucking have it tailored. Wear it as it fits, baby.
no, you know what? Fuck it. If we do a GTT prom, I'll wear a dress. But one of you fuckers better send me a corsage.
Okay.
I got you.
Let's do Patreon tier. Fucking buy David a corsage.
Fuck it, I'll do it.
Game 4.
Finally. All right, guys. So the cover art for the Game Boy Color version of this game shows the title character riding a snowboard, despite there being no levels in this game in which the character rides a snowboard. All right, guys. Who's feeling great?
Oh, I feel
So
so
good.
good.
Feeling excellent.
Good. Oh, man. Johnny, great guess. Oh, everybody's great guesses. All right, so Johnny says The Lion King. Sadly, incorrect. Jesse says SSX, which would be crazy for there to be a Game Boy Color version of SSX in which nobody rides a snowboard, but I could see it. And David says Metal Gear Ghost Babel. David, the crazy thing is Snake does ride a snowboard in Metal Gear Ghost Babel and is pictured doing so on the cover. So no, that's also incorrect.
What?
No, guys. So let's talk about these cover arts as we're revealing the answer. So on the Game Boy Color, the character is shown riding a snowboard, despite in the Game Boy Color version of the game, there not being a level in which you get to ride a snowboard. On the PlayStation version of the game, the character is shown wearing a tuxedo in a bit of a James Bond pastiche.
Oh, it's Link's Awakening DX.
That's right. Link's Awakening Nightfire.
Oh, it's Glover.
Is this Gex?
Gex.
And in the Nintendo 64 version, the cover art depicts the character wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin outfit, standing on a wrestling ring. This is Gex 3 for the Game Boy Color, Deep Pocket Gecko.
That's what she said.
Yeah, pocket. This is a demake in every sense of the word. It was released a few months after Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko for the PlayStation and Nintendo 64, which is, of course, a 3D platforming game where you're running around as Gex. putting on different costumes and doing different action things in a 3D environment. This Deep Pocket Gecko, it's a side-scrolling platformer.
I was going to
And
say, how did the Game Boy Color render these 3D environments?
right, yeah, it didn't do so hot, so they decided to go with 2 dimensions on this one.
Better yet, how did the Game Boy Color render voice clips from comedian Dana Gould?
And see, there's one of the big reasons this kind of fails. No Dana Gould, no quips.
How do you have Gex without Dana Gould?
Hey, David, you know what I found out recently? In the English version of Gex, they use different comedians or different voice actors, and it's I always forget his name, but he plays the cat in Red Dwarf.
Oh, Danny John Jules.
Yeah, he does the voice for Gex in one of the games over in England, which is weird.
That's fucking awesome.
No, wait, I'm sorry. In America, it was Dana Gould, but in Great Britain, it was Danny Jules.
Danny John Jules.
Do you think that's maybe because the British misunderstood who they asked for? And it's like, well, we need to get Dana Gould, and they got Danny Jules.
I think it was more so the like.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up there, Governor. I can't quite understand what the actor you just asked for.
Oh yeah, we'll get the old Danny Jules. Chop chop. Oh, wait, they don't.
We got Danny Jules right here, actually.
John, I love that your British accent is basically a Boston accent with Cheerio added to it.
Yeah, I said Governor.
Yeah, Governor, we'll get you, Danny Jules right there. Anyhow,
now don't go crazy, Governor. Don't park your car at Harvard Yard. All right, we'll get you some Danny Jules.
I need you to ask Gex about some microprocessors.
That's right, Governor. We choose to go to the moon not because it is easy, but because it is hard.
We'll get you Danny Jules.
I don't want my environment to be a product of me.
No,
Gex in The
lost
Departed
my train of thought in here, but
now I only want to talk about Gex in The Departed.
Oh, yes, please.
Now, would Gex be playing the Matt Damon role or the DiCaprio role or the Jack Nicholson role in The Departed?
It would be the Alec Baldwin role.
Okay, Johnny, you know who has the best role in The Departed. Son of a bitch, this is a guy that's seen The Departed.
The point that I was the point that I was trying to make before we went on this tangent was like, no, they didn't get Danny John Jules because they confused it with Dana Gould. They went with like, we need a really prominent British comedian. Stephen Fry? No, go down a couple levels. Danny John Jules? Yeah, sure, that works.
Yeah.
In much the same way that was like, fuck it, let's get Dana Gould.
Mm-hmm. Can't afford like an actual Simpsons cast member. Let's get a Simpsons writer. Done. But yeah, so Gex Deep Pocket Gecko is a side-scrolling game in which you play as Gex, and you go in different levels based on different like TV shows and movies and things. There's a holiday level. There's a desert level called Holy Moses.
As we learned from episode 64 of Game That Tune, there's no Titanic level in the Game Boy Color version.
No, there's not. There is a cactus in the western level called the Oregon Trail. That's the western level. It's Wild West level. There's an anime level. There's a superhero level. And something I do like about the game, despite being on the Game Boy Color, they did make a point to show Gex wearing the different costumes. Every time you go to a different level, he's got a different little outfit on. I think it's very cute.
That's cool, especially for the Game Boy Color. Damn.
That's what I'm saying. So different little Game Boy Color sprites. Like in the holiday level, it's a snowy level, and he's got snowboard gear on. He is not riding a snowboard, but he's got like a little beanie and goggles on. It's kind of cute. In the like Egyptian level, he's wearing like the headdress thing that like a pharaoh would wear. That I realize now I don't know the name of. So I'm not going to try to name it.
I think it's just headdress.
If you feel like Googling Pharaoh's headdress right now, David, that's your business. Last time you tried to Google anything relating to fucking Egypt, it went all kinds of wrong. So be my fucking guest.
I believe you're thinking of the Nemes, which was a striped linen headcloth tied at the back of the head worn by the pharaohs of ancient Egypt.
Thank you. That's exactly.
I thought he was the quarterback of the Jets when they won the Super Bowl.
No, you're thinking of Nemesis, the big giant monster from Resident Evil.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, David, you've totally redeemed yourself. There are some fun like bosses in the game. There is a wrestling themed boss, character named Rock Hard. After you collect 14 remotes, you get to fight Rock Hard, who is a bit of a pastiche of Stone Cold and The Rock. There's also a level in which you fight Rez, but he's like the Wizard of Oz for some reason. It's just like the floating head, and he blows like fireballs at you, and you have to hit him with stuff. And then the final Rez level, it's like a space thing. Okay, Johnny was reaching for his whiskey. I thought he was hitting the soundboard.
No, you go through, you fight the Rez and the Wizard of Oz like a giant floating head, and then there's a space thing. Fucking whatever.
But I say fucking whatever because the wiki does not make it clear what space movie it seems to be riffing on. And again, it's just Johnny's arm go forward. I assume that was to the soundboard that he produces a glass of whiskey. I'm like, son of a bitch, just miss. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun little game. It's side scrolling Game Boy Color shit. The problem that I see with it is that the way they advertise Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko is that he has all these new abilities and new costumes and new stuff like that. And it's like, all right, you got the new costumes, but like, where's the riding around 3D levels on like rocket things and snowboards and shit? That's not here. The only thing Gex does in any level is tail whip things. So it's like, yeah, it's this didn't need to happen. I guess good job on you guys for employing a few Game Boy programmers and making this happen, but like, no, you should have just stuck with your 3D games, and I don't know, not crank this out. Like, who's clamoring for Gex on Game Boy Color? But
I'd miss that era of where you had these, like, basically you had games coming out on like 3 or 4 generations of console at the same time. Because there was a period where you had games coming out on PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, and Game Boy Color, and
right.
And of course the Game Boy Color is going to be a 2D version of it. And I kind of like, you haven't had that in a while, because for a while you had games that come out on the Wii U and 3DS, and like, yeah, the 3DS is a downgrade, but it would still be like 3D and more or less the same game.
More accurately, you had the games coming out on the PS3, 360, and 3DS. The Wii U somehow just it's not like there were some awesome exclusives that carried over between the Wii U and the 3DS. But the 3DS got a lot of third party things and things like that. But yeah, no, I don't know. I kind of miss that too. Because I don't know. It was always there was a novelty to playing these games where it's like, what could this possibly be? Like, like why? Okay, so Gex, he's based on what I know of Gex from the one Gex game I played. He's a lizard that cracks wise. He runs around in 3D environments. He can crawl on walls. He can go into TVs. And the game's based on, tropes of TV things. Okay, that's great. Gex 3 on the consoles, it's like, all right, we're going super tropey. We're doing movies and TV. Gex is James Bond. There's a live action Baywatch, like Playboy Playmate supermodel that is Gex's girlfriend that gets kidnapped. We're going all the way in on all the tropes, and it's like, all right, so what's the Game Boy Color version? It's like, oh, it's just a shitty platforming version of, I don't know, it's Gex, but he looks like Plucky Duck. There's no, it's just like, there's the novelty factor, but really the complete non-essential. What's the adjective version of, or I'm trying to figure out a way to say that this game is completely unneeded and like contributes nothing to the series.
So,
quite superfluous. Is there value added to the Gex series by there being a Game Boy Color version of this? No.
So what you're saying is this is the David from Game That Tune of the Gex series.
We're doing this thing, man. We're doing the self-deprecating thing now. I thought earlier in the episode you were the goddamn king of the show.
You know, self-deprecating is kind of my go-to source of humor.
Oh, I assumed he was talking about the other David.
Oh, the David Weiland of Game That Tune. Gex 3 Deep Pocket Gecko is very much the former Game That Tune co-host David Weiland. No, we love you, David Weiland. It's been 270 or so episodes. Maybe come back sometime. But yeah, no, it seems like the kind of thing that would piss people off back in the day, because you show somebody a Game Boy Color game, it's like, all right, well, that probably sucks, but I'll give it a shot if it's got Gex riding a snowboard. Fine. And then you get in there, it's like, oh, okay, so they just used a piece of key art from the fucking other game, and Gex isn't riding a snowboard in this at all. What the fuck, man? Like, I thought this was going to be another Gex follow-up to 1080 snowboarding, and you got me playing a fucking lousy Game Boy Color side-scrolling game. You sons of bitches. Like, it's, I don't know. I guess that's kind of, you could argue that's a problem with the other Gex things, Gex 3 as well. Like with Nintendo 64, it makes it seem like, all right, he's Stone Cold Steve Austin now. It's a Gex wrestling game. And then there's like one wrestling boss. Yeah. And then, on the PlayStation, they got the fucking art right. It's like, all right, he's James Bond, and this is the thing. Like, this is the correct art. So maybe the PlayStation version's the only truly correct one. But I don't know, man. Gex, he's a funny guy, man. This is the final game in the series, guys. Gex is gone after this. It's been 24 fucking years.
Should he come back?
I know, it makes me sad. We should have Gex back.
I mean, I feel like we should.
I'm sorry, when I hear we should have Gex back, I just imagine like on the show.
Yes.
Can we call Dana Gould?
We should absolutely get Dana Gould on the show.
Let's get David Weiland back on the show playing Gex. Yeah. He really was our Gex, guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like would a new Gex be doing like, parodies of modern movies and television? Like, because I would like to see that. I'd like to see, Gex. I'd like to see what Gex has been up to for the last. I mean, that thing is 24 years of shit to draw from now. Like, he's got all of the 2000s and 2010s to draw from, and even some of the the last the 2020s. Like, I want to see Gex the Way of Water.
Oh my God, Gex MCU.
Yes. It could just be Gex doing the whole MCU instead of Lego. All this shit. Let's do Gex.
Gex, Gex Jersey Shore.
Yes. See, it's
sold.
God, could you imagine Gex going to the Jersey Shore and his model just grows like in the bicep area,
and he turns orange and fucking spikes his little hair up, and it'd be called GTL, Gex Tan Laundry.
I mean, to be fair, he's a gecko. He doesn't have hair, but
he would in the Jersey Shore, David. Trust me. It'd be called the Gextuation. It'd be fucking just, it would all be terrible.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Shout out to Kerrigan in our Discord chat who says Gex of Thrones.
Yes,
I would pay so much money for that, especially if Gex is the fucking dragon.
There'd be I don't know. Would he be the dragon or would he be the mother of dragons? Like, would it be gender bending Gex where he's, Daenerys Gexgarian? I'd be into it.
I would just love it if they basically came with a new ending for the Gex Game of Thrones. For Gex of Thrones,
exactly.
that's better.
Now, that's the problem. Would the Gex Game of Thrones end better than the series?
Yes. Because anything would end better than the series.
That's a low bar, guys.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if, spoilers, the dragon melts the Iron Throne and it just turns into a statue of Gex?
I'd be into it.
Oh, dude. God, that'd be such a better ending.
Yeah, I mean, there's been 24 years of pop culture actually for Gex to draw on now. So yeah, I think actually it's a great time for Gex to come back.
Yeah.
I think we need him back, man. Like, I wish I had just a list of like the top grossing movies for the last several years in front of me, because it would just give us fucking Top Gex
Avatar.
Maverick.
I was going to
Somehow-
say he could do Star Wars again.
Somehow I
Gex
feel like it would be Conquer Reloaded, but better.
I mean, yeah,
Mm.
because there's no obligation to be like crude or crass about it. Like, I guess things like Family Guy and Robot Chicken have us covered on pop culture through a crass and crude lens. So Gex can come in and just do affectionate, fun video game stuff that lightly makes fun of these things. It's really, it doesn't even make fun of them. It just occupies the same space. That's the beauty of Gex. Like, there's nothing subversive about it. It's just, here's Gex, and he's in this thing, and it vaguely resembles this thing that
Oh, God,
Like-
Gex and Wild Mountain Time with Dana Gould doing a terrible Irish accent. I would love that.
What does that mean, Johnny? What the fuck?
Am I the only one who saw Wild Mountain Time?
Oh my god! If we're talking about like recent movie and everything, could you imagine like Gexkin, where Gex is like a robot girl gecko in a horror movie?
What?
Wait, I don't know what movie you're referencing, David. I'm
Megan.
sorry.
Did
Megan?
nobody see-
Megan!
Did nobody else see Megan?
No,
I saw it, but
No,
it just
nobody
took me a
else saw
second.
it.
I did,
No.
but I didn't get
You're racist.
it.
Maybe I should have titled it
David Gex can't do a
Megex.
pastiche of something that came out last month. Yeah. Jeez, man. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we bring back Gex for Gex Vengers Endgame. There's a lot to draw on. Yeah, I think they should do it. What they shouldn't do is simultaneously do all that for Game Boy Color. This game serves no purpose. It's except I'll give it up. Chiptunes, pretty fun. Nothing like Gex doesn't have the iconic themes to be adapted into awesome chiptunes, but still pretty fun listen. Shout out composer Mark Cooksey, way to go. I enjoy these more than frankly I enjoy the normal Gex tunes, which are like a more direct I keep saying pastiche, but just a more directly influenced by the thing they're parodying. So I enjoy the Game Boy sounds more than a bad version of like an anime soundtrack, if you get my meaning. Anyway, Gex rules and needs to come back. He's like our new hero.
Absolutely.
Is that what we're saying? Is that the game that tune verdict? David, you're the king here. Don't be self-deprecating. Make a ruling. Gex fucks?
Gex absolutely fucks.
I mean, there's a Playboy Playmate, a live action Playboy Playmate in Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. So yeah, I guess Gex definitely fucks.
You know what? On the GTT Mount Rushmore, there's two GTT Mount Rushmores.
This is the next Mount Rushmore.
One specifically for video game composers, and one for the four of us. And the one for the four of us should have a fifth spot for Gex.
I like to think there's a third GTT Mount Rushmore.
want
There's
a
the
mouth.
composers, there's all of us, and then there's just one that's just Gex.
I want a
He's an
Mount
entire Mount
Rushmore.
Rushmore unto himself.
A Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmores.
God, I mean, pretty high up there on the Mount Rushmore of all-time Mount Rushmores is the GTT Mount Rushmore of composers.
That's pretty good.
And then the GTT Mount Rushmore of GTT hosts, and then the Gex Mount Rushmore. Then I mean, it's kind of personal preference on who occupies the fourth spot on the Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmores. This is getting fucking stupid, guys. We got to move on, Johnny.
Quick,
Game
Johnny.
I
five.
feel like it's Tim Curry saying space.
Game 5.
Still not.
God, that second song just fucking slaps. I love the solos they put in that. That's insane.
Yeah, what are you doing here, Johnny?
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Bring the fire.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
this 2000 release is itself a remake of a 1994 release. The 1994 release was a demake of the original 1993 release. All right, who's got their answers?
I have
Wow.
my answer locked and loaded.
Wow, John.
All right, so
Damn, Jesse, there's more for fucking the next game.
Jesse says Gex in the City, which is incorrect. David says something Sonic Game Gear, which is incorrect. John has the correct answer. This is Aladdin.
What?
They took Aladdin for the Sega Genesis and tried to port it to the Game Boy in 1994, a year after the original came out, and it was fucking terrible.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, but they took Aladdin from the Genesis and ported it to the Game Boy?
Yep.
Like, not from the Super Nintendo?
Nope.
So he's not throwing apples?
No, he is. He throws apples in the Genesis one, but in sword fighting, right, in the Genesis one, yeah, because you had the Capcom Super Nintendo one, then you had Virgin Interactive do the Genesis one.
Okay, so kind of just immediately, who made this? Was it Virgin Game Boy or like Virgin Boy?
No. So, let's see. The original Game Boy port was done by a company called like NMS Software, something like that. I forget exactly. And then the 2000 completely made from scratch version was done by Crawfish Interactive or Crawfish Studios. I'm sorry. Who did very amazing ports of like Street Fighter to Game Boy and Street Fighter Alpha 3 to Game Boy Advance.
Word.
I'm sorry, step back. The 2000 Game Boy port?
Well,
That's what we're talking about here, David.
Game Boy Color exclusive port, yes.
I'm sorry, Game Boy Color exclusive. That makes it so much better.
Well, there's colors.
Yeah, it's I don't understand why. And also, like that last one was published by Ubisoft for some reason. For some reason, Ubisoft and Crawfish got to remake this in the year 2000.
Oh, see, I'm confused and devastated by this because I have long been an SNES owner and an SNES defender, and the SNES Aladdin is the better version of Aladdin. From a gameplay standpoint, certainly, maybe not from a aesthetic standpoint, or like a layperson's standpoint, because people have a problem with the apple chucking as opposed to the sword swinging. Okay. None of that matters when you're making it for the Game Boy, because it's gonna look like
the
shit
Super
no matter
Nintendo
what.
beats the Genesis, but
Yeah, so the 1994 Game Boy version really, I'm trying to put this delicately, it sucks ass. It's very bad. The like, you can't use your sword while in the air, like while jumping or anything like that. It's missing bonus games. The frame rate is terrible. It just looks really bad.
I mean, I can't imagine the Virgin Interactive Sega Genesis Aladdin game translating to any handheld system. Like, the screen resolution would just be so shit.
Yeah.
And it just simply couldn't work, because like the Virgin Aladdin game, it's like an airplane hangar game. Like, it's just those giant ass levels to explore and get lost in and fucking have no fun in. Like, one, it could never be properly conveyed on a Game Boy screen. Two, it would take so long to beat a single level that your Game Boy's batteries would die. Like, and that's Game Boy. Game Boy has the good battery life.
Yeah. So the Game Boy 94 version had also only like 3 songs on the soundtrack.
Boo.
Which means that you fight Jafar while like a whole new world plays. Like, I'm sorry. I could. Yeah, I can show you the world. Oh, that's the same song. Yeah. Yeah, you're fighting Jafar to do.
Oh, that's absolutely a whole new world.
Yeah.
Don't
A whole
you know
new world
your
of
Disney
pain.
songs? God damn, Johnny.
Right. I can show you your death. Your blood spilling.
Shining, shimmering gently.
Whereas the 2000 edition has most of the Genesis songs except Camel Jazz. That one's missing. And that was
so that last song. If that last song wasn't Camel Jazz, then that was Turbine Jazz.
yes.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I was like, I almost said, "Damn, Johnny got fucking Demake a Camel Jazz," and this is the first time hearing of it. But okay, so that was Turbine Jazz, the other jazz. Because man, like, talk about my ears perking up. Like, enough time spent not playing the Genesis Aladdin, but listening to music on Game That Tune radio. I'll give Genesis Aladdin its props. Great soundtrack. And to hear a demake, a fucking competent demake of this Genesis soundtrack.
Oh, because it's a demake with added parts. There's like soloing going on.
It's really good.
It's amazing. It's like shit.
Wow.
Whereas the 94 one is not like that at all. It's just garbage. No, so what?
Yeah.
What led me to look into all this was I actually wanted to bring the NES version of Aladdin. And unfortunately that did not come out in the US, so I opted to go with this one. But I thought,
God forbid anybody bring a game that didn't come out in the US on the show tonight.
But I thought I would mention the NES one came out in 1994. 2, they clearly just took the Game Boy version and put it on NES. Like, it's the exact same price.
Which is impressive
awful.
because Aladdin came out in 92. Like, I know video games take time, but I feel like a 1-year development cycle for the NES is kind of standard. Like, why did they push this out in 94?
Well,
because they focused all their resources on making 16-bit versions. So the Genesis and SNES versions came out, I want to say, in late 93, like, probably November, December 93. And then they had an afterthought, like, what if we put it on the fucking Game Boy and Nintendo? It's like, all right, you could do it as long as you just copy and paste the fucking same game twice. Like,
yeah, because that is essentially what they did. They took the Genesis version and tried to port it to the other consoles. So you had to have that Genesis one come out to serve as the basis. And then they decide. I feel like back then you didn't have to be that on time with the game version of a movie. Like, I remember I didn't care as a kid. I didn't give a shit. I was watching Aladdin on repeat all the time, driving my parents crazy.
I guess
That's because Aladdin's a classic.
Yeah.
I still wanted kind of timely things, man. Like, you could spot a fucking stinker a mile away. Like when they make a fucking like a Flintstones game in the 90s. It's like, what are you doing? Like, there's no reason to have made this.
And I remember when the Jungle Book game came out for
Yeah.
Genesis, and I was like, why?
Hey, you can't fool me. What's the game? What's the angle here? Like, I'm surprised, really thinking about it, they never made something like 101 Dalmatians on Genesis. Like,
There's too many.
there's
just too many Dalmatians. It can't handle
You
it.
can't control those Dalmatians, but there have been no content in the Dalmatian verse since the 1950s. But there could have been a Genesis game, and they could have tricked people into buying it.
I mean, I don't know.
Jungle
I feel like you maybe could have sold 101 Dalmatians on Genesis based on nostalgia, but you're not pushing Black Cauldron on Genesis. That's just not gonna fucking happen.
I mean, yeah. So, David, you're the Disney guy. What's like a classic Disney property that should have gotten a 90s, like a Genesis game?
The Great Mouse Detective.
Not really classic as I was looking for, Johnny. That was the 80s. That was, compared to fucking the Jungle Book, Great Mouse Detective was certified fresh.
I love how it was like, David, you're the Disney expert. Tell me what game you would have played. Johnny immediately jumps in.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would say there probably should have been Sleeping Beauty on Genesis, where you
Who
start
the fuck
off.
would you play as?
Well, you start off playing as Aurora, and you're trying to find the three fairies, and then you get pricked. You fall asleep, and then you play as the prince for a couple levels, and final boss Maleficent as the dragon.
See, yeah, we wouldn't get good video game Maleficent content until Kingdom Hearts. It was kind of worth the wait at that point. It was pretty great. What? And I guess really all the Disney classic questions I had are kind of addressed by Kingdom Hearts. Like, oh, what about an Alice in Wonderland game? No, they took care of that. What about Pinocchio? Oh, they took care of that too. Okay, well, actually, forget what I said. Fine. Surely they didn't make a Fantasia game. Oh, then they did that too. Shit. Okay.
David, what music would you have play during the fight with Maleficent on the Sega Genesis, and why is it a whole new world from Aladdin?
Would it be? I was gonna say, would it be Maleficent jazz? Dragon jazz?
Maleficent jazz, the soundtrack to Johnny Does Dallas, coming to Patreon shortly.
Soundtrack to Johnny Made His Prom Date Gay. Maleficent jazz.
Wow. Oh, chef's kiss.
I'm really just devastated by this whole thing because it really upsets me that they decided to port the Genesis version of this game to fucking Nintendo handhelds. That signals to me that I've been wrong all these years about the Capcom version of Aladdin being really good. It's like they fucking abandoned it and wanted to fucking port this other version. Like,
well, I can't get over that. They decided to do it twice. They decided to do it again.
They decided to do it once, and they decided to do it again 6 years later.
The game's so nice, they ported it twice.
That'll show. I mean,
okay. Bad timing.
Why? The first Game Boy one sold pretty poorly, and Game Boy Color was, I don't know, I guess pretty hot and all that, but why? Why? I'm glad it happened. That soundtrack is killer. That soundtrack's amazing.
Soundtrack redeems the whole thing. That's the beauty of it. Even when we feature shit games on the show, the soundtrack typically can redeem it.
Yeah, see most Sonic games.
We are. Yeah, I also had another question, relating back to my game. Gex 3 being Deep Pocket Gecko. Why did it take so long for Game Boy to brand itself as a pocket system? It's like they knew the original Game Boy couldn't fit in a pocket, and they had to make a new updated version that was small enough, like a handheld, but it actually can fit in your pocket. It feels like the original Game Boy should have been that. It feels like it, started too big.
I think what happened with the original Game Boy is they said, you know what's going to be really, really big soon? Pockets. As in, they're expecting most pockets to get bigger as a fashion trend,
like Jinkos.
and then they got all wrong.
Jinkos, but pockets stayed the same size, so people did the smaller Game Boys.
I think that's it. I think it's exactly.
It eventually culminated in the Game Boy Micro, which wasn't even a Game Boy; it was a Game Boy Advance.
I had a Game Boy Pocket.
Yeah, I also had a Game Boy Pocket.
I had a Game Boy Pocket. It was bright green. That's how I played most of my Game Boy games.
Now, David, did you play it loud?
I definitely played it loud, but not too loud because it was usually in the backseat of the car of my parents' car while I was like driving on road trips.
Sure.
Oh, I would insist.
David, about age 12, with you wore your Game Boy Pocket as like a mohawk. That was like a fashion statement you had, right?
Oh, absolutely. When I was 12 years old, I rocked a mohawk.
Everyone go thumb back through your old issues of Nintendo Power. You'll see David. He was the marketing campaign for the Game Boy Pocket. He played it loud.
Did you guys ever insist on your parents plugging the cassette adapter into your Game Boy and having your Game Boy music play over the car stereo?
Fuck,
absolutely.
No.
I definitely did that once.
Wow.
Well, awesome.
I say I insisted, but I was vetoed immediately by mom, dad, and big sister.
Yeah, your mom insisted on giving you a pop in your smart mouth.
I was like, hey, we should play my Game Boy music. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody want to hear this Pokemon music? No, we'd rather listen to the Doobie Brothers. All right, well, fuck me then.
To be fair, we're talking about my family, so it's the Cubs game.
Right, yeah. Jesus.
You guys call yourself VGM podcasters, but you never plugged your Game Boy into a cassette adapter in your parents' minivan.
You never, in 1998, plugged a Game Boy into a fucking cassette adapter. Yeah, that's where all VGM podcasts originated from. Foisting this information and music upon people. Oh man. Yeah, man. What a time. No, I've never subjected anybody to fucking the actual music of a Game Boy via the aux. But now I realize the folly of my ways, Johnny. I really should have.
You missed out, man.
I mean, that's every party ever.
Right. Yeah. Give me the aux. I got something. Plug in the bicycle theme from Pokemon. Oh yeah, here we go, guys.
Give me the aux.
Oh damn! You could play Turban Jazz. All right. Damn, you got that fucking Donald Griffin. Yeah, Johnny. Wow, what a pick! What a game that I didn't know existed. Twice.
Yeah, there's two of them. I'm seeing double here.
Yeah.
4 Aladdins.
4th of Aladdin. Yeah. Johnny, is there anything else on handheld Aladdin? Is it officially just merely called Aladdin, or do they do any kind of hand pun on it?
Nah, it's just Aladdin. Just Aladdin.
Gotcha. Cool. Johnny, great pick. Activate the computer.
On it.
Calculating computer activated. Computers. Beeps. Boops.
Damn it, John.
Scoring complete. This game's winner is John Harrington.
Oh yeah, guys. I'm back, baby. I'm
You did
back.
it.
Back in that winner's circle. You never saw that coming. I sure didn't. Jesse, what a fool you were to disqualify yourself from the show.
Sure.
But man, what a time for me to return to the winner's circle of Game That Tune. Because guys,
Hold on, Jesse didn't disqualify himself from the show. I reinstated him.
again, man, this is America, David. We don't have kings here. As far as I'm concerned, you're the king of Jack and shit.
I already played.
I don't see Jack around here anywhere.
I already played the John Wins jingle, guys. I'm not going back.
Yeah, I'm not editing this.
Have to change the light bulb.
I mean, to be fair, like, yeah, John can still win, but my ruling stands.
Oh man. So yeah, I've won the episode, and I wasn't prepared to do so, but I'm adaptable. I'm quick on my feet. I can come up with a theme for next episode at the drop of a hat. Maybe it's got something to do with the game that I chose for tonight, guys. Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko. It's called Deep Pocket Gecko, the version that I brought, but I'm talking about Deep Cover Gecko. Of course, the theme for next week is games featuring Gex.
Beautiful.
This is the theme I have been waiting for since the show began.
There's only one game left that you can use, so the rest of you are disqualified. Yeah, so instead of games with Gex, I was also thinking maybe games with costumes, games with outfits. That would be pretty broad. That would be pretty in line with the year of the free play thing that I've been doing here. But I got to thinking about it, and guys, I'm gonna declare an actual theme, and it's gonna be as dumb as Johnny's D-Maker Cactus theme. X3 Deep Cover Gecko. I'm thinking about Deep Cover. I'm thinking about the song by Dr. Dre featuring Snoop Dogg. I'm thinking about it being a 187 on a motherfucking cop. And we've already done a number of games in which you do violence towards cops. So next week's theme, 187. Which means it's either got to be the first game in a series, the 8th game in a series, or the 7th game in a series.
Oh, wait. Can we split it up? Could it be the 18th game or the 87th game in a series?
No.
Can I add up the 1 and the 8 and use the 9th game in the series?
You may not. It's a 187 on the motherfucking episode.
Okay, hold up. We can't add the 1 and the 8th game to make the 9th game. Can we add the 8th and the 7th to make the 15th game in a series?
I got a good game for that, but no. It's Game That Tune 327 is going to be Game That Tune 187. So either the first game, 8th game, or 7th game. And that's the only theme. I'm not going to fucking make it any easier on you guys. So
you're not going to add like games with barrels or some shit?
You're not doing a double theme? That was your whole gimmick this year.
No, John's gimmick was that the themes are stupid. Not that they're double, just that they're stupid.
It was never the gimmick was never double themes. The gimmick was year of the free play, which meant themes that are super broad. If you guys can't figure out a game that's the first game in a series or the 8th or 7th game in a series, then God help you. So I'm counting on our fans to give us some great requests of 8th and 7th games that maybe we haven't used before.
Can we do the 187th game in a series?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. Sweet. That makes it easier.
Yeah.
Let me look up the 187th port of Pac-Man.
But so, basically, for the layman out there, yes, games with no sequel or the 8th game or the 7th game. There it is. 187 on Game That Tune. It's going to be a good one. So, guys, get ready. It's going to be a fucking episode for sure. And guys, what an episode this has been. We want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you, everybody watching live with us. We're live every Wednesday night. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. Search for Game That Tune. We love you guys watching live with us. We're in your podcast devices on Tuesday mornings. Check out GameThatTune.com or anywhere you get your podcast for our awesome show that you're listening to. Recommend it to your friends. Rate it, review it, subscribe. Do all the things that you do to a podcast to Game That Tune. We want to thank our Patreon fans, everybody checking out Patreon. We love you guys. Patreon.com/GameThatTune. It's the home for awesome exclusives. We've got Game That Tune gyms. We've got Game That Tune mixtapes. We've got Covered Up. We've got movie commentaries. We've got all kinds of fun stuff going on over there at Patreon.com/GameThatTune. And you help us keep the lights on at our 24/7 video game music live stream. That's radio.gamethattune.com, gtt.rocks. That's the link that my phone likes because it's super short and easy to press the button on. That's the home for video game music on the internet. the just the best place to listen to video game music and interact with our silly little community. Want to give a shout out, of course, to our Patreon absurd fans. I'm talking about Lance Revere, Damian Beckles, Bradford Stevens, Daniel Perky, Taylor Y, Sam L, Grimmery, Phoenix Tier 2121, Beast Pond, and the Kerrigan. A fantastic group of absurd fans that we've got there on Patreon. We love all you guys, so thank you for supporting us and the show. Johnny took the request this week. Johnny, remind everybody who the request came from.
Our super fan tier producer, oh god damn it!
Wow, absurd.
Have another drink, Johnny.
Yeah.
Our absurd fan tier producer Taylor Y in our Discord.
Yep, Taylor, fantastic request. They made their request via our Discord. That's the best place to make them. You can also make them at GameThatTune.club, our fantastic social media server. We love you guys joining us at GameThatTune.club and hanging out and doing those things. But yeah, Discord's definitely the best place to make them. And guys, that's going to do it. So, like I said, I definitely came up with this theme on the fly. Definitely didn't think of it before the episode began. And that's going to inform my bonus tunes. So, of course, we're talking about games with a 187, Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. The bonus tune, and I tried to find a more video game relevant version of this. I tried to find a chiptune remix. It's Deep Cover by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. It's going to get us muted on YouTube, but it's worth it. So we love you guys, and let's hit this motherfucker. Peace out, everybody.
Hit this motherfucker, G.
No, man, I can't fuck with it right now.
Oh, man, I've been dealing with you for 3 motherfucking months. You ain't hit the pipe in front of me yet.
So what you saying?
I thank you, 5-0.
5-0? Man, I ain't no motherfucking cop.
Well, hit this motherfucker then.
I can feel it.
Tonight's the night I get in some shit. Yeah. Deep cover on the incognito tip. Killing motherfuckers if I have to. Filling gaps too. Let your niggas know I'm coming at you. I guess that's part of the game. But I feel for the nigga who think he just gon' come and change things with the swiftness. So get it right with the quickness and let me handle my business. Yo, I'm on a mission and my mission won't stop until I get the nigga maxing at the top.
I hope you get his ass before he drop.
Kingpin kicking back while his workers slaying rocks. Coming up like a fat rat. Big money, big cars, big bodyguards on his back. So it's difficult to get him.
But I got the hooker with somebody who knows how to get in contact with him.
Hit him like this and like that. Let him know that I'm looking for a big fat dope sack. What is the spin? So let's rush it. If you wanna handle it tonight, we'll discuss it. On a nigga's time and a nigga's place. Take my strap just in case one of his boys recognize my face. Cause he's a shiesty motherfucker. But I gives a fuck, cause I'm going deep cover. Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car. Creep with me as I crawl through the hood. Maniac, lunatic, call him Snoop Eastwood. Kicking dust as I bust fuck peace. And the motherfucking drug police. You already know I give a fuck about a cop. So why in the fuck would you think that it would stop? Plot, yeah, that's what we's about to do. Take your ass on a mission with the boys in blue. Dre,
what up, Snoop?
Yo, I got the feeling. Tonight's the night like Betty Wright. And I'm chilling, killing, feeling, no remorse, yeah. So let's go straight to the motherfucking source and see what we can find. Crooked ass cops that be getting niggas a gang of time. And now they wanna make a deal with me. Scoop me up and put me on their team and chill with me. And make my pockets bigger. They wanna meet with me tonight at 7 o'clock.
So what's up, nigga?
What you wanna do?
What you wanna do?
I got the gauge, a Uzi, and my motherfucking 22. So if you wanna blast, nigga, we can buck 'em. If we stick 'em, then we stuck 'em. So fuck.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car. 6:45 was the time on the clock when me and my homie bailed in the parking lot. The scene looked strange and it felt like a setup.
Better not be, cause if it is, they getting lit up.
Oh, here they come from the back and they lax. I'm checking for they gats, they strap. So what's up, black?
Chill, let's hit a deal. If it ain't up to what you feel, then grab your steel.
Right, so what you motherfuckers gon' come at me with? Hope you ain't wanting none of my grip, cause you can say that shit.
Guess what they told me?
We give you 20 G's if you snitch on your homie. We'll put you in a home and make your life plush. Oh yeah, but you gotta sell dope for us. Let me think about it. Turn my back and grab my gat, and guess what I told him before I shot it? If you don't quit, yeah. If you don't stop, yeah. I'm letting my gat pop. Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
Cause it's 187 on an undercover car.
There went our ad revenue. Dragon Quest Tact is copyright 2020 Square Enix. Super Mario Brothers Special is copyright 1986 Hudson Soft and Nintendo Company Limited. Monster Prom 3 Monster Road Trip. I actually didn't Google the information for that one. Gex 3 Deep Pocket Gecko is copyright 1999 IDOS Interactive. Aladdin. Disney's Aladdin is copyright 2000 Crawfish Interactive and Ubisoft.